again with one more session of really interesting stuff to learn from Dr. Narendra Bhatt about Ayurveda. Namaste, sir. So today, we would like to know treatment approaches in Ayurveda. Can you elaborate on that?
The subject of treatment, which we call as chikitsa, in Ayurveda has been very detailed out in a very systematic manner. It very clearly says that the approach to treatment threefold. There are three ways to approach the threefold approach. The first and foremost among the treatment approaches is that related with ahara, that is nutrition or food or dietetics. There are different words to use it. The second aspect, the second approach is the vihara. Vihara in today's times that you can define into exposures, behaviors, exercise, and so on. The third part, which is more prevalent today, is the medicinal part. It's very interesting to observe that what we call as medicine, or is treated more as a medicine, constitutes only one part of the three aspects that we have in Ayurveda about how to address, how to treat a patient.
So you say ahar. When you talk about ahar, I guess you mean diet. Am I right?
See, it's very interesting. Most of the time we perceive ahar to be food, or that whatever the name we will use, nutrition, food, intake. But if one goes into the depth of the word, then ahara is a composite process where the air that we take, the water that we drink, and the food we take, they all work together. So we must take that into consideration when we are addressing the subject, which is ahara.
It's very interesting.
So we are inhaling air, we are drinking water, and we are eating food. So all the three, when come together, that is what is to be considered as ahara. So that is why what air we are breathing is as good as what water we are drinking, and is as good as the food that we are eating. So whereas we are aware about these aspects in terms of pollution and very other aspects, when it comes to health and treatment of diseases, from the point of view of Ayurveda, these three are to be considered together. And that is why you find a variety of approaches, regimen, we call it regimen, that are described about ahara. Whereas I cannot go into each and every detail in our short interaction. What time to eat, how to eat, what kind of food to eat, in what environment to eat. All these things, all aspects are also part of the dietetic or ahara aspect of Ayurveda. Of course, the food is one of the important part because that forms the base. The solid part comes from there.
Right.
But what time we are eating, how we are eating. I mean, definitely we don't recommend a person who is running or who is driving eating a sandwich.
Right.
We see many times people around holding a cup of coffee with now a earphone in the hand and in the other hand sandwich.
Yes.
Now, I can only imagine what must be happening in the system within, where the concerned individual is neither satisfying any one of the needs that one has. We accept all this as a part of life. But in reality, we do not recognize that each of our actions have an impact. But the concept of ahara is much more elaborate than what we perceive it to. So the first point which I try to make is the vast view, the comprehensive view that Ayurveda has brought about heart. The second part which is relevant is about the food. Now let us talk about food.
Yes.
Yes, most of the people they do need a help. And for each disease or for each ailment, the food does play an important role. Like somebody who is susceptible to respiratory problems, obviously cannot have very cooling food or cold items. Everybody knows that. I don't think one has to go to an Ayurvedic doctor to know that an ice cream may not be suitable to a particular person. We know from childhood.
Right.
But what happens is that over a period of time, we adapt to this. And what we observe nowadays is I call it abuse of adaptability of our life. The human body, we as a living entity, has a tremendous capacity to adapt.
Right.
I will just give one example that give me one person who has smoked cigarette for the first time and he has not coughed. Give me one person who has taken an alcohol and he has not felt intoxicated first time. But then our body has got a mechanism to adapt. So in these extreme examples you can understand, but what happens in our day-to-day time that you can only imagine. How we allow our body to be adapted to a situation which may or may not be good for our body, for our living.
Right.
And that is what we call as lifestyle. The word lifestyle has to be understood in this depth.
That's very interesting.
So whereas we do recognize, the modern medicine does recognize the lifestyle disorders, but it has really not gone into the depth the way Ayurveda looks at in a comprehensive manner, in a collective manner. Medicine also recognizes pollution. Medicine also recognizes water pollutants.
Right.
But in day-to-day life, to convert this into a process which is going to help you or which is going to harm you.
Yes.
Which is going to improvise your health, or which is going to harm your health, becomes very, very pertinent.
Right.
And the way I do it is that I ask my patient to write down everything intake.
Every intake?
So I give my normal approach is that they have to give me a 15 days chart, all the details. My simple joke with them is that please inform me whether you are eating a papad which is roasted or fried. You are eating a biscuit, let me know what kind of biscuit you are using. You are taking a snack, let me know what it is. Because what happens is that what we call as spicy may not be spicy for the other person.
Correct.
So my tikka, my adaptability to spicy food will be variable than what we normally believe it to be.
Correct.
My adaptability to tamarind is going to be different. My adaptability to curds, which I have formed a habit from my young age, is going to be different. And I may not be aware even that it is the cause of my illness, which has lasted in my body or evolved in my body, developed in my body over maybe 15 years, and I may not be aware about it. And these are the things which become very important. When I point out certain things and say, "Arey, मैं तो life में लेता हूँ. I have been taking this throughout my life." Okay. So you have allowed your body to adapt, but that does not mean it is not harmful to you. So this is the concept of ahara from Ayurveda.
Okay. It's interesting. There are these treatment plans that people talk about, that I went to, some facility and they gave me a 20-day package, or they've given me a 2-month package. And what is your opinion about this kind of treatment? Do you ever treat people like this in this kind of a finite manner?
I mean, it is a very interesting question because the reply could be yes and no. Yes, because we also have to put patient suffering from a specific illness, with a specific type of diet at a particular stage, and we do that. But I do not ascribe to that normal. Nowadays there is a fashion that you come to me as a detoxification process.
Yes.
It might be helping them for that particular period.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn out of that period to how to adapt to a new situation, And if you go back to what we were doing earlier, then it is not going to help you. In fact, many times I have observed this to be more disastrous because it becomes double, the ailment comes with double strength.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because what one should do, the way we get adapted to a particular diet or environment, similarly, when it comes to treatment also, we should accept it as a modifying process, a change process. And that change process cannot be that you again, it is not a mechanical, a wheel of a car that you just change and do it again. It's not a car wheel that, you go puncture, you remove the puncture and you bring it back.
Right.
It's a biological process.
Right.
So, yes, there are times when you can give a package, but it must be followed by what is good for you thereafter. Otherwise, it doesn't become a really beneficial to the individual.
I understand. So, in speaking about Ahar, I believe that you have touched upon Vihar as well. So, would you please explain, because these concepts, I feel like when you spoke about Ahar in the beginning and you said it is much more than just the solid food that we take. So, what is Vihar, sir?
Good. Vihar also is little to be expanded in terms of exposures. But to me, it is behavior, your exposure, your exercise, what you are doing, what you are not doing, your time of waking up, your time of sleeping, your habits of afternoon, and so on. I give a very simple thing. You are a yoga enthusiast, as I know. Now I come across people who will take lunch or meal, and within 1.5 to 2 hours they will be going for yoga. There are people who say that I want to do exercise only afternoon, depending on my schedules.
Yes.
You cannot pull your stomach at say around 1:30 p.m. and then go for exercise at 4:30 p.m.
What would you recommend?
Till you are in a middle age or then you are stronger age, you may adapt to that. It will help you. No doubt it will not help you. But you must understand the consequences of that. Because your body is not a mechanical process, like you switch on and switch off. As I was telling about Ahar, even one gulp of water, even a one bite which you take,
Yes.
has a reflective effect from your mouth to the other end. It's not an electric switch that you switch on and off. It is a composite biological reaction which you are triggering on. The continuous process is part of your living, part of your life. So most of the time, believe that I can have switch on off, switch on off, switch on off. Can't do that. When it comes to Vihar, some of the important aspects are when do you conduct your exercise? Are you doing your exercise or not? Whereas we do subscribe to afternoon nap, people call it power nap. Yes, it is strongly recommended. There is a method to do that. But afternoon sleep, but everybody is a no.
Okay.
On the other hand, if we have a shift job, today we cannot avoid that.
Yes.
Somebody who has got, whether in a pilot or a aerospace or working in an industry where there is a shift,
Yes.
then the duty of the Ayurvedic physicians is to guide that person to adapt to the professional, the occupational life one has got, and help him to minimize the risk and minimize the damage that is happening. You cannot avoid it, but yes, you can minimize it. So whether it is, like one of the main causes of today's illnesses is most of the time we want to remain light. And many of us have heavy dinner. It is typical to India, in urban India.
Yes.
And what we do is that we come home around 8:30, 9, take heavy dinner and watch TV and go to sleep.
Yes.
This becomes one of the main causes of adipose tissue accumulation, obesity, diabetes and all that. Many times we don't know that we don't get sleep because we have eaten at the wrong time. So these are very simple things which we have learned, I mean, they were part of our lives, not only in India, but even Western countries. I have seen the Europe. I have traveled a lot in Europe. To accept few cities in the world, most of the places we have a supper time, we have breakfast and we have lunch time.
Yes.
They are related with nature.
Right.
And your ahar and vihar have to be in line with what nature is.
Yes.
At what time, where the sun is, how the air is moving. And another aspect which is very important is about the seasons.
Seasons, yes.
Seasons play a very important role. I've seen the blood sugars of people fluctuating. And if they
Based on
fluctuate more
seasons.
on April or October, I don't feel very much concerned because that's a natural happening which I've observed. And of course, I'm not generalizing the statement, but I mean I know that that is the time it is going to little haywire. The body is trying to adapt from one season to the other season. Similarly, we know that in monsoon, everybody knows that it's a disease area.
Yes.
Sorry, this is time.
Time, yes.
If you look at any religion, you find the maximum periodicity of fasting, reception is a part of religion during monsoon.
Amazing.
So whether you take Atthai, or whether you take the Hindu rituals and of Rata or Kumarika or other, whether you talk about other such ritualistic things, you will find that they are mainly in the area in the period when there is monsoon. Because monsoon is supposed to be the time when your air, the environment and the body fluctuates between hot and cold, which results into the ailments. The body has to adapt it literally in a hour-to-hour manner.
Amazing.
And when adaptability is poor, then it is better that you have less burden on your system. And in order to have less burden on your system, the less you eat, the better it is. If you fast, it is better. So all these, I mean, we unfortunately have converted all this into rituals. We have rejected all these things. But these are not every religious approach which, at least to my knowledge, has a health-related evidence. So this is the beauty of.
Would you shed some more light about exercise?
The exercise is one is that when you are growing, you should do exercise which are good to build up specifically. I come across people that they have abused their body by doing more exercise, because if you are able to do something more, say for example in the age of say 15 to 20, 21 or say 5 to 10 years, you did rigorous exercise, you did karate, yoga, everything, and suddenly the moment you get into a job, you left everything.
Right.
Then your body is going to respond, react rather.
It needs a smooth transition.
It needs a smooth transition, and particularly certain things when you are middle age or late age, you should do only those kind of exercises which you will be able to do throughout your life.
Amazing.
So yoga is one of the main areas which is exercise which I strongly recommend, and at a fixed time preferably.
Hatha yoga, asana.
Simple walk. Simple walk is a very simple exercise for everybody at any age.
Yes.
What is this? It is in your control. You know you can do it throughout your life till you die.
Yes.
And then we can adopt to such activities which are going to help you, which you can do throughout. Anything doing in excess, we call it Ati Yoga. Ati Yoga. Doing anything you're doing in excess is prohibited in Ayurveda. Ati Sarvatra Varjyate. You should not do anything in excess. And that is where the whole concept sums up in this way. Whether it is ahara or vihara, you have to define what is good for you, what is bad for you. You have to understand it and adapt to it.
Very, very interesting, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We will be meeting again and listening to Dr. Narendra Bhatt and all this interesting information that we learned about Ayurveda.